Let us discuss European classical literature. Unit 1, Approaching the Iliad, the epic and the Homeric tradition of Block 1, Homer's Iliad. The main objective is objective of this unit is to introduce the epic tradition and also to make the Homeric tradition familiar to you. ഈ ഹോമർ എങ്ങനെയാണ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ വേർഡ്സിൽ ഒരു ട്രഡീഷൻ, ഒരു കൾച്ചർ, ഒരു സെറ്റപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളതെന്ന് അത് ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് വി ആർ ഗോയിങ് ത്രൂ ദിസ് ചാപ്റ്റർ. ആക്ച്വലി the Iliad was composed around 8th century BC, almost 3000 years back. As we all know, it is an ancient Greek poem by Homer. And in the introduction section, it is said that how necessary is to know the story of the poem, to understand it actually, to study it actually. അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് പഠിക്കാൻ we actually want to know the story of the poem. This poem deals with the events of the last weeks of the Trojan War. This war was between the Greeks and the Trojans, which lasted for almost 10 years. It has a similarity with the Indian epics Mahabharata and Ramayana, because ഇതിലെല്ലാത്തിലും എന്താണ്, female leads are being harassed or abducted. The epics Mahabharata and Ramayana also female leads, that is Draupadi and Sita, were harassed or abducted. It was Helen, the wife of Menelaus, the Greek commander, was abducted by Paris, the Trojan prince. Trojan prince നമ്മുടെ മെനലേസിന്റെ വൈഫായ ഹെലനെ തട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടുപോകുന്നതാണ് കഥ, ഇതിന്റെ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ടുള്ള സ്റ്റോറി. To see the story in detail, the Trojan War was the result of abduction of Helen from her husband, who is a Sparta king. The war was for 10 years, and it was after the 9th year that this story is being explained here. കാരണം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, after the 9 years of war, ഇതിന്റെ ഈ ട്രോയിന്റെ ഒരു അലൈ സിറ്റിയാണ്, ഒരു ഫ്രണ്ട് സിറ്റിയാണ് ഏത് ക്രൈസ്. അപ്പൊ അവിടെയുള്ള 2 beautiful maidens were captured by these 2 people, that is Agamemnon and his commander Achilles. ഈ Agamemnon ആരാന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ he is a brother of Menelaus. അപ്പൊ these 2 ladies' name are Chrysis and Briseis. And ഇതിലെ ക്രൈസിസിന്റെ father was a priest to the god Apollo, and he has offered a great ransom amount to return his daughter, but he was denied of his request. Upon that, he prayed to the god Apollo, and epidemic plague was sent by the god, which killed many Greek soldiers. Agamemnon realized that the cause of the plague, and he decided to return Chrysis. Then he demanded Briseis from Achilles. Achilles was hungry and refused to take part in the war. He prayed to his mother Thetis to seek the help of god Zeus to destroy the Greeks. When Aga angry ayy ദേഷ്യം വന്നു, he decided to keep him off the war, and he asked his mother to pray to the god. The Greeks were already losing the war because Achilles was not there. But even then, when the war was about to lose, when the Greeks were about to lose the war, Achilles, out of his concern of the Greek army, asked his close friend Patroclus to join the battle. But what happened? But Patroclus was slain by Hector. Hector is actually a great warrior of the Trojan. This made Achilles rejoin the army because he was very much desperate. He was very much sad about his friend, and he decided to rejoin the army. And he talked to the person he was in anger with, and he sorted all it out, and he joined the army. He rejoined the army. He killed many Trojan soldiers, including Hector, with the help of the goddess Athena. And as a revenge, he dragged Hector's body tied to the back of his chariot. But Lord Zeus felt Hector deserved a hero's burial and sent the god Hermes to escort Priam. Priam is Hector's father. And they requested Achilles for his son's body. And he returned the body. Then, the other thing is how to approach the Iliad. Approaching the Iliad. The Iliad is a long story which is in many ways similar to our Mahabharata and Ramayana, our own Indian epics. In many ways, let us discuss the points. First one is a God's intervention. എല്ലാത്തിലും ഗോഡിന്റെ ഒരു പ്ലേ ഉണ്ട്. In Mahabharata, we know Lord Krishna is a reincarnation or avatar. He is an avatar. And also in Ramayana, we know Rama. And likewise, in Iliad also, we can see many gods coming into play into the battleground. And also in Mahabharata, it was the main thing is battle. The battle was between good and evil for the restoration of Dharma. In Ramayana also, the battle is between, actually it was between the personified good and evil. Rama stood for the good and Ravana stood for the evil. And the difference is that here the gods did not directly take part in the war. That means they had no weapons at all, they were not armed and all those things. But in Iliad, the gods themselves went into the battleground to support their team, actually. And also, we can see another thing parallel. That is, there is a pair in each story. That is, in Ramayana, we can see there is a pair, that is Rama and Ravana. Even though both of them stood for the two opposite qualities, both of them had strong powers. They were very much strong in their attitudes. Even though Sita was detained by Ravana for a long time, she wasn't harmed in any ways. Likewise, in Mahabharata also there is a duo. There is a friendship duo between Arjun and not actually the friendship duo. Even though they were brothers, you know that story, no? So even though they had the same powers, they had the same lineage, they were against each other, and it was like between Arjuna and Karna. And here in the Iliad, it is between Achilles and Hector. Right? Okay. Now, we can see many epics in the Western culture, Western literature actually. There are many epic poetries, many epic novels, many epic plays, many epic films. The examples are given in your text itself. But even though in our common language also, we say, wow, what a film, what an epic story, what a epic film it is. But how do we determine a film or a work actually is an epic or not? Actually, there is a particular definition of an epic. You can see into that, okay? All literature have a common focus actually. They have to reveal the essential reality of life. Life enganeyano, what is the truth, what is to embrace the unity of the human spirit and all those things. It is not just a story. Likewise, it is not the story of a single human being or of a generation or something like that. Actually, epic is one of the classical forms of writing, and according to King, it enlarges the human spirit and shows the grandeur and sublimity of life. It shows how grand a life can be, and also how sublime, how volatile ഒരു ലൈഫ് എത്രത്തോളം ഗ്രാൻഡ് ആണെന്നും അത് അതുപോലെ തന്നെ എത്രത്തോളം സബ്ലൈം, എത്രത്തോളം തരളമാണെന്നും എത്രത്തോളം പെട്ടെന്ന് നശിച്ചു പോകുന്നതാണെന്നും നമുക്ക് കാണിച്ചു തരും. Also, for the epic poems, Sri Aurobindo had said that The song of the greatest flight that will reveal from the highest pinnacle and with the largest field of vision the destiny of the human spirit and presence and ways and purpose of the divinity in man and universe. That means the human spirit and the presence and ways and purpose of the divinity. It always deals with the divinity, a divine power and the humans. Also, let us look at the Ramayana and Mahabharata, which are the common familiar epics for us, to show how distinct an epic can be. Simply saying, both the Ramayana and Mahabharata are two long poems. The Ramayana has 24,000 verses and Mahabharata has verses between 8,000, 24,000, 1 lakh as are three types of Mahabharata, because many writers have attempted it after the original one. And also, they depict the heroic deeds of the protagonist. That is in the Ramayana, Lord Rama and the Pandavas. And the Pandavas, in particular Arjuna, guided by Lord Krishna in the Mahabharata. Also, these two Indian epics are Itihasa. Itihasa means, as we know, Itihasam, history. So, it means that it has truly happened. From all the above statements, we can conclude epic poem is a long poem including history, adil history undavanam. Le, anganeyanu Ezra Pound parnittulladu. That depicts the heroic deeds of the protagonists. അവരുടെ ഹീറോയിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള നായക സ്വഭാവം തുളുമ്പുന്ന അവരുടെ പ്രവർത്തികൾ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന ലോങ് പോയംസ്. It should not be only long poems, but also it should form a part of the history. And yet another aspect of the epic is it is a work of art surpassing the dimensions of realism. Thus we have the dual relation of an epic to history on one hand to everyday reality on the other. അതായത്, even though it is a part of history, it may not go in hand with all the reality. Day-to-day life, even though we believe that it is a part of history, we can't imagine, a person can get birth by now with some divine powers. If he has some divine powers, we are not going to believe him. So even though it is a part of history, but it do not go hand in hand with today's reality. അപ്പോൾ എന്തെല്ലാമായിരിക്കും ചീഫ് ക്യാരക്ടറിസ്റ്റിക്സ് ഓഫ് ആൻ എപ്പിക്? ഇതെല്ലാമാണ് ഒരു എപ്പിക്കിന്റെ ഡെഫിനിഷൻ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ വാട്ട് ആർ ദ ചീഫ് ക്യാരക്ടറിസ്റ്റിക്സ് ഓഫ് ആൻ എപ്പിക്? ഒരു എപ്പിക്കിനെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ എപ്പിക് എന്ന് പറയാം? ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് അവർ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഹെഡിങ്. ക്യാരക്ടറിസ്റ്റിക്സ് ഓഫ് ആൻ എപ്പിക്. The theme should be mainly the heroic deeds of great men, as we have discussed earlier, especially with some divine powers or exceptional qualities. Example, yeah, very much the three heroes of from each of our epics we have discussed here, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana and the Iliad. Okay, also an epic is large in scale. Besides that, even though it is not only with the heroes, we can see some divine power, some God feelings, that is some avatars or some direct godly things taking part in the war or coming into existence to support the leading characters. And the second point is an epic is larger in scale. That is, in India we don't have that culture, but with European literature they do choose a magic number 12 to write their Western epics. Western epics are either in 12 books or multiples of 12. Some few examples are given in your textbook. And also, the other point is an epic presents heroic ideals such as courage, honor, sacrifice, patriotism and kindness. It also gives a clear picture of the social and cultural patterns of contemporary life. That is the life then existed. It gives not only the social phase or not only the cultural patterns, it is a mixture of whatever happened at that time. Also, epic language consists of ornamental similes, recurrent epithets, short phrases, and expressive style. Classic epics were originally recited and they were oral epics, hence the use of recurrent phrases in the oral transmission of the poems as they served as mnemonic aids for both the singer and the audience alike. എന്താണ് മിക്കപ്പോഴും നമുക്കതൊരു mnemonic aids ആയിട്ട് മാറും. കാരണം നമുക്ക് ഈ മഹാഭാരതത്തിലെ രാമായണത്തിലെ മിക്ക ശ്ലോകങ്ങളും മിക്ക phrases, idioms എല്ലാം നമുക്ക് ഓർമ്മയുണ്ടാവും. പിന്നെന്താണ് they have ornamental similes beyond the normal level. They have some more dramatic or some ornamental similes. പിന്നെന്താണ് ഒരുപാട് അങ്ങനത്തെ expression styles. Also, an epic poet possesses a high degree of imaginative power. അല്ലാണ്ട് നമ്മൾക്ക് പണ്ട് കണ്ട ഓർമ്മ ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ ടിവിയിൽ മഹാഭാരതത്തിൽ ഇപ്പുറത്തെ സൈഡിൽ നിന്ന് കുറെ ആരോസ് പോയി അപ്പുറത്തെ സൈഡിൽ നിന്ന് ഇപ്പുറത്ത് കുറെ ആരോസ് വന്നത് തമ്മിൽ കൂട്ടിമുട്ടി അല്ലേ അപ്പം it have the epic poet possesses high degree of imagination, what is referred to as poetic inspiration, and it also have an equally high degree of consciousness of technique. He know much poetic techniques to use too. Okay, also an epic is characterized by unity of action actually. That is, unity of action include unity of action, unity of time, and unity of place. That means it cannot change time by time. Homer in the Iliad and Odyssey centers his stories in a single action. Likewise, in our Ramayana and Mahabharata also, they have a unity of action. All the process, there is a main plot there and subplots are lesser in number. Even though the main thing, main idea, main subject is one thing, the whole process is centered over either the abduction of Sita or molesting Draupadi or some in here kidnapping Helen and all those things. The main plot is something there and subplots are over there. An epic generally begins with stating the theme of the subject of this story. That is, it usually explains in the very starting itself what is the actual emotion, what is the actual thing, what is the actual string, അതിലുള്ള main ആയിട്ടുള്ള basic ആയിട്ടുള്ള thing എന്താണെന്ന് it is usually explained in the first part itself. The statement of the theme is followed by an invocation to the muse by the poet for divine inspiration to narrate the story. That is, they always shows the presence of some divine thing. ഒരു ദൈവത്തോട് നമ്മൾ പിന്നെ പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുന്ന പോലെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ to find the blessings of some divine power, they may be asking adding something like that. Also, epics generally begin in the middle of the story. Epics mikkappozhum it starts in the middle of the story and the first part is often shown as flashbacks as we see in films and directly move toward the earlier events as flashbacks and it continues. Now, the other thing is that the use and intervention of the supernatural. Epics present deeds of great valor and reflect superhuman courage. Karandana ivada thanne there is shown presence of many gods. Many warriors are given extra superhuman powers by the gods. When on the prey of the mother itself, many things are happening in the battle. Divine intervention is present from the very beginning in the Iliad. Also, catalogs and genealogies are also given. That is, catalog means as we go in some shops or something like that, if you want to order something, we are given a particular order of things. Like, or catalog തരാറുണ്ടല്ലോ അതുപോലെ each and every events in an epic is shows as catalogs. And also genealogies are also given. Genealogies means the past, the ancestors are mentioned, and also the main characters give extended formal speeches. And we are here to discuss a Homeric tradition, that is classical epics. Classical epics, what is a Homeric tradition? What is the thing that Homer usually want to show in his epics? Classic often deals with antiquity, particularly in West. എന്താണ് അവിടെ ഗ്രീസ് റോമെല്ലാണ് അവരുടെ ട്രഡീഷൻ അവരുടെ ഒരു കൾച്ചറായിട്ട് അവർ ഇതാക്കാം. പക്ഷെ in other parts they relate to most highly developed stage of earlier civilization and culture. The epics always deals with man's struggles against forces of humanity and his efforts to restore the moral order. Study of classics is important എന്തിനാണ് to show the value of order, harmony and beauty in this world. In this world of despite of violence and close conflicts. This world is full of violence and full of things, and so we have to learn the history, we have to learn the epics, right? Also such epics are enough for us to show, to inspire us and to achieve similar heights. Classical literature and its canonical authority are the best means to civilize our generation. Nammala generation അല്ലെങ്കിൽ upcoming generation, in order to make them civilized, make them cultured, we have to make them read such epics actually. Also, the word classic is used to denote something exemplary. Exemplary means which can be set as an example or of highest class. Their basic quality is classicism. The basic quality is classicism. That is the beauty of language, taste of the choices, refinement of their characters, ഓരോന്നിലും അവർ കാണിക്കുന്ന emotions in our limitations, restrainment, that is how up to what extent, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്താണ് ഓവറായിട്ട് എക്സ്പ്രസ് ചെയ്താൽ it could be of a drama type, അല്ലെ? അപ്പൊ അതിനെല്ലാം ഇല്ലാണ്ട് within a limit they have to restrain into their emotions, and that is how much should they express. Not like dramas. Classicism is regarded as a vehicle of reason and logic, അല്ലേ? നമ്മളെന്താ പറയുക സാധാരണ കഥയിൽ ചോദ്യമില്ല, പക്ഷെ it is not like that. There is reason and logic in that. While romanticism on the other hand is a vehicle of feeling and imagination merely. The classical writer do never put his words into the character's mouth. അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് പിന്നെ വേറൊരു പോയിന്റ് എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ക്ലാസിക്കൽ റൈറ്റേഴ്സ് എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അവരുടെ ഐഡിയാസ് ആർ നെവർ റെപ്രസെന്റഡ് ത്രൂ ദ characters. We can't find Shakespeare or Homer in their works. We can see only their characters actually. Starting with Homer, moving through Aeschylus, Sophocles and others, we can find man having chance to be defeated by powers that are beyond them. Like so some supernatural powers, some other powers. And that should not make him a victim, but they should arise and face the powers. In all the Greek classics, it was a choiceless choice to confront the dispute. That even though they are in the end of their life, they have to fight back. They have to rise up and fight back. Classics are not meant for any social change. നമ്മളിപ്പോ കാണുന്ന കുറെ ഡ്രാമാസ് പോലെ it's not meant for any social change, but they inherit some noble values given to man. It does not ensure and everything will end. Ellam Shubham na varna aur end. They are not assuring us, but makes us face the reality. Reality എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മളിപ്പോ കാണുന്ന ഡേ ടു ഡേ ലൈഫ് റിയാലിറ്റി അല്ല, ഒരു ലൈഫ് കൈൻഡ് ഒരു ജീവിതത്തിന്റെ ഒരു ഏഡ് എന്നൊന്നും പറയാൻ പറ്റുന്നതല്ല, ബട്ട് ദ റിയാലിറ്റി ഓഫ് എക്സിസ്റ്റൻസ്. ഇഫ് സച്ച് തിങ്സ് എക്സിസ്റ്റഡ്, അതുപോലെ സാധനങ്ങൾ എക്സിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വാട്ട് വിൽ ദ ഹാവ് ടു ഫേസ്? Such things are discussed in epics actually. It shows a microcosmic man in confrontation of the macrocosmic universe. ഒരു പൊടി പോലത്തെ മനുഷ്യൻ വലിയ വിശാലമായ പ്രപഞ്ചത്തിൽ എങ്ങനെയാണുള്ളത് അതാണ് നമുക്ക് കാണിച്ചു തരുന്നത്. There is no more imaginations like a Shaktiman or Superman always winning over the enemies, but represents strong man fighting even in losing battle. The dignity of man is not simply accepting the defeat, but trying to win until his very end. In the Iliad, we find two great heroes fighting even. That is Homer can very well explain the conflicts between God and humans. Hector was very brave and he fought and he was jailed, humiliated. പക്ഷെ എന്താണ്? He regained. കാരണം എന്താണ്? Zeus found that his body, he should get a heroic end. So he was regained. But Achilles, even on his victory, cannot overcome his sense of mortality. That means because of his word, his friend was died. So he could not bear his friend's death. And fighting the God's presence is there. Some divine presence is there. All these characters knew that they are not gods. They are all up to gods. They are all unto gods. Everything went down the gods. അപ്പോൾ അവരെന്ത് ചെയ്താലും everything went as the gods wish. പക്ഷെ എന്നാലും they tried their level best. Achilles could not overcome his sense. Shakespeare, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഷേക്സ്പിയർ പറഞ്ഞത് പണ്ട്, we are unto gods, like the boys kill fireflies എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് അല്ലെ. നമ്മള് പ്രാണീനെ കുട്ടികള് രസത്തിന് കൊല്ലുന്നത് പോലെ ഗോഡിന്റെ തീരുമാനത്തിനാണ് നമ്മളുള്ളത്. Divine presence helps Achilles and Hector to do well more than their own power. There also we can see some divine power. What is Homeric tradition ideal? എന്താണ് ഹോമറിന്റെ ട്രഡീഷൻ? എന്താണ്? That is to fight to the best, കഴിവിന്റെ maximum fight ചെയ്യാം. പിന്നെ to take away women from the defeated camp as it is their right, അവർ അവകാശം പോലാണ്, and to live through his own strength and power. But as we know, one's man's victory is always other man's sorrow. Hence, Hector killed Patroclus. പക്ഷെ അതെന്താണ്? It was heartbreaking for Achilles. But Achilles ന്റെ പ്രവർത്തികളെല്ലാം ആരെ ഹർട്ട് ചെയ്തു? ട്രയാംന അല്ലേ? Likewise, everything is in depending. One's success is other's sorrow always. That is all up in this. Okay, thank you.